Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. Looks like you're ready. Yay! Good Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, y'all? Nico coming through. I got my friend Stephanie here joining along, and we having a Sunday afternoon hangout. I've been getting all... Come on.
Okay.
A little bit so you can be in the frame. Big you up a little bit.
I'm short in real life, so this is
And we're having a Sunday afternoon hangout. So it's 3 o'clock on Sunday for all my friends here in the States and my friends abroad. If any of my European friends are connected, happy Sunday evening to y'all. And this is my service and commitment to my friends and the people I care about, that we can stay connected even remotely during these times, and we can be on the same team and be part of like the same story, etc. So I've been playing around with this cool streaming software that I downloaded. It's called OBS, if anybody wants to play around with it. And it's got all sorts of cool stuff, and I created some cool scenes for you guys so that we can enjoy and get some interesting things to talk about. Last week was a bit of a bust. I was still learning the software, and I still am learning the software. But I'm a lot further this week and a lot more prepared this week, so I got some cool stuff to share with you guys. Just so you can know, like, the whole idea behind coming on here and doing streams is that I like sharing with my friends, and yeah, and I want to be on the same team. And so I just had the idea that I would come on here once a week and make myself available so that people can understand me a bit better, and so that I can understand and connect with other people a bit better, and then we can create a narrative and dialogue for what the heck is going on in this crazy wild world at this crazy wild time, and how to turn it into something amazing so that we can make the world a better place, create heaven on earth for the benefit of all. Let's go. So the topics I intend to cover, so that's kind of the idea. Like, how do we strategize to make the world the best place we can, heaven on earth for the benefit of all? Let's go. So that's where we're at with it. And, it's not so hard when the sun is shining and you live near the mountains and the birds are chirping and it's beautiful already anyway. And we just kind of have to align with the goodness of the universe that's already abundantly offered. And, a lot of what's going on in this time is kind of like releasing the stuff that no longer serves us. And it's happening in such a big way, moving into, Age of Aquarius energy or the end of the Mayan calendar, however you want to think about it. And I'm happy to talk about all those sort of things. But, the simple way of saying it is that the energy is changing for us all. And we're letting go of the old ways and we're coming through with some new ways. And we have an opportunity to do something cool. So instead of just sitting in my corner and kind of plugging away and doing my own thing, which I am doing my own thing, and it's going very well, and as far as I can tell, I'm doing as well as I've ever done in my entire darn life. And we're doing it together, and it only gets better. Yeehaw, let's go. But to be able to share that with other people and offer the gifts that I have remotely, use the blessings of technology that we can stay connected, we can see each other's face and be part of something awesome. So yeah.
Well, I think this is really exciting. I'm
Yeah.
here for moral support, and this is, from my knowledge, your first live here at the house. We're all roommates here at the house. So if you guys see anyone over there, we have roommates. And honestly, this was a place that Nico got to come, and the starting of this place was kind of like the same idea, at least trying to create heaven on earth, or a place for us to unite and get to know each other and better ourselves. And there's 3 rules to the house, kind of, too, is like bettering ourselves, bettering our community, or loving our community, and protecting the planet. And it was really cool to like have Nico come be in this space, and now I get to be here for moral support while I watch him, doing him, but at the same time, all of us doing us, and I think it's an awesome, AKA, I don't know, what would you say, either a blessing or like a synchronistic event that has meaning to it, right? Whatever definition you want to call it. But for me, this is pretty cool to be here with you doing this. It's so funny because I can show you on my Facebook right now. I have lives of me on Facebook right now doing the same thing pretty much around the same time. So I know that there's been a lot of like energy when it comes to like the eclipses and all that stuff, and all of us having our own little synchronicities to seeing about bettering the planet, or bettering ourselves, putting ourselves in a artistic, beautiful, inspiring place, so that you can feel called to do something like this and feel good doing it. So I'm happy to be here. My name is Stephanie, by the way.
Yeah.
Nico.
Proper introduction is my roommate Stephanie.
Hi.
And she's a good vibe. Like we've just been connecting on a lot of stuff and just carrying good energy. She is a business woman and running her own little shop here in town, in our anonymous little small Colorado town.
Little entrepreneur.
And yeah, just carrying that energy so that we can all do what we individually have to do, so that we can come together and do something communally, and then also just kind of keep it within the parameters of like good personal, emotional, spiritual well-being of like, we're all doing our best, and like nobody's perfect, and lots of gentle, kind, compassionate, forgiveness and and persistence and continuation, and let's be nice to each other and carry the vision and expand upon that vision and open our minds to the possibilities and removing of obstacles, Jay Ganesha sort of vibe, always, and do something awesome. So, having said that, I want to touch on like a couple primary themes of what I'd like to do kind of each week as I step into this space. When I think about making the world a better place, like, there's basically kind of 3 or 4 primary axes that runs along, and those are the things I want to discuss. And there's some overlap, but this is kind of the way I want to approach it. Is the one is sovereignty, is understanding our inherent freedom as creatures to express our free will and our creativity however we please, and my freedom ends where the next the next person's begins, etc., etc. But within that, other than communicating clear and valid boundaries, and that we should feel free to follow our bliss and do as we feel in each moment, and respect and trust and honor each person on their path, that we're all kind of working towards that same goal of making the world the best place that we can. So I want to touch on the sovereignty, and there's a fair amount of specifics about that. I've been working with the American States Assembly and the Colorado State Assembly for the last couple of years. Primary purpose is to get as many people to correct their status as Americans as possible, and to step away from this, corporate, administrative, British territorial United States citizenship category that we presumed was the only political status, but we've now come to realize is basically an indentured servant, and the only thing worse would be to be a municipal citizen of the United States, which would be kind of, slave to the Holy Roman Empire, which is neither holy nor Roman nor an empire, as some of us may know. So I want to touch on that, and there's developments going on with that each and every week. Talking about returning to lawful money and asset-backed currency, and gaining access to the credit that they've run up so much debt in our names. The U.S. debt is all these trillions of dollars. People say, how are we going to pay back the debt? Well, the simple answer is we, as Americans, are not. We're going to receive the debt because we are the creditors to the situation, and we've been taken advantage of. But until you correct your status and they presume upon you as a U.S. citizen or whatever, then you put in a debtor status. And once you start to understand that, it's about debtor-creditor relationship. You can start to take some of these steps. Very exciting. The second component I want to touch on is mysticism and esotericism. Basically studying energy, studying flows, understanding the importance of having spiritual meaning in our lives, in our daily lives, and moment to moment, thanks and praise, and lots of fun sort of vibe. And there's so much to learn about that, symbolism and what's actually going on. I mentioned, we got these big cycles of moving into this Aquarius energy, etc. And, there's just so much to talk about on that. And it's something that I, in my personal experiences, have experienced on a pretty deep level. So all the good white magic, witchy vibes sort of thing, crystals and sages and things for the highest good, and connecting with spirit in a positive way, and not being afraid to touch into the unknown, and taking our protection of goodness with us everywhere we go. And I wouldn't talk about any of those topics because they're so meaningful and powerful if I wasn't firmly planted and committed into doing everything I can for the greatest good sort of vibe. But within that, there's a lot to learn. It's exciting and fun. And then the third topic I want to talk about is abundance and financial preparedness in this time. I've been keeping my eyes on these markets for the last couple of years. I got a pretty straightforward advice for all my friends that want to be in a good place, as we're seeing, the Federal Reserve note inevitably go to zero because it's not backed by anything, and all of the world currencies basically following suit because they're all traded in U.S. dollars. And kind of knowing that the writing is on the wall for the traditional stock markets and things like that. Probably not likely to go to zero, but because the companies will stay going, but likely to suffer a big hit as we're watching rates skyrocket and stuff like that. And I can pull up some charts and kind of show you exactly what I'm talking about when I say that. Simple thing is, for my homies and my friends that are looking to put themselves in a good position, get your hands on as much physical silver as you can. It's $20 an ounce right now, and it's way price suppressed, and it has been for a long time. And I think that's a good way to prepare and to put yourself in a good position. If it gets, if we talk about like supply crisis and stuff like that, yeah, beans and rice, guns and butter sort of thing. We're trying to intending to manifest a situation where, it's not that desperate or whatever, and that, we can, get into sustainable situations and grow our own food and stuff like that. Stepwise, and there doesn't have to be too many big shocks to the system. But as far as the old system of, print money to infinity and steal it all from the people through taxation, that's coming to an end, which is a good thing, but it's going to cause like a lot of chaos for people that never thought that they would see the end of that system, sort of thing. And so the easy mode is grab as much silver as you can, physical silver in your own possession. And then the more interesting mode is talking about cryptocurrency and private custody of your own assets in your own control. And, the problems of the legacy finance system that are solved by some of these new technologies, stuff like that. And it's fun to talk about crypto and trading and learning. I got a lot of people that like really are curious about it and want to get involved in it, but they don't really know how. And I'm going to do some of that stuff like right here on the screen with you, so you can kind of, so we can learn together. So that's going to be it. And other than that, it's just a hangout. So we're finna, I don't know, we can smoke a little, we can chill a little, we can talk a little, we can daydream and sing songs. I can share music with you. I can, I made these cool scenes as we go, and I'm learning this new software and the whole thing. And, it's somewhat ad hoc, and I'm still learning, and it is what it is, but it's my offering to the world, it's my offering to you, so I hope you like it. So if you're seeing this, if you're with us now, or if you're seeing this on the replay or whatever, love you very much. Thank you for watching and sharing and being here in the space, and wish us all the very, very best, 100 times out of 100. Just infinite, awesome, amazing. Let's go. So, having said that, commence chill out mode. What's on your mind, Steph?
Yeah, no, my main thought is like, how do you think you got here? What made you have like an aha moment? Like that's not the way I was gonna go in my life or something, because I always have one. I know.
You go first.
No. I asked the question.
Aha moment.
Yeah, like you just needed the system. Something wasn't right with the system, and you were gonna do something different with your life.
Well, I've thought about this a fair amount, and I don't know exactly like what the aha moment was, but I do remember very specifically like the day after 9/11, back in 2001, and I saw all the Yahoo Cowboys at my high school flying these big old American flags and talking this rowdy bullshit about we're gonna go to war, we're gonna kick some ass and all this stuff, and I was like, you guys have no idea what's going on, and you are cannon fodder, and you're just food for the fire sort of situation. And that, and I've always kind of known that about the military-industrial system, is that they don't care about any of their people, and you watch the way veterans get treated when they come home from those situations, and and it was really strange to me that supposedly the person who was responsible for that was a Saudi royal who was holed up in Afghanistan, and also who was trained, with American money by the C.I. You know what I'm talking about, back in 1979, during the first Afghan crisis with the Soviet Union. And so that person, and I saw this, so that person was a Saudi royal, and 17 out of the 19 people were Saudis, and he was operating out of Afghanistan, and then for some reason they used it as a pretext to go into Iraq. And I was like, wait a minute, those are completely different countries. This doesn't make any sense. And I saw all the Yahoo, flag waving stuff that was going on during that time, and I just knew it was bullshit. And then, a couple years later, I watched the movie Zeitgeist, and they laid a lot out on the table about that. Go ahead.
So just to explain, like, the Zeitgeist, I remember that coming into my household when I was little. So I was pretty little when 9/11 happened.
2003, 4, that movie came out.
Yeah, back then, this thing was like traveling around on discs that were burnt. Mm-hmm. People had CD discs, and you just happened to be the person that would get one of these discs. Mm-hmm. right? And just to explain a little bit about that.
And that was the early years of InfoWars as well. Back when like Alex Jones was like just young and coming out of, I think from Austin, Texas or wherever he's from. And, regardless of what's happened recently, which, we can talk about in a different moment. But man, that dude did a shit ton of really good research during that post 9/11 moment. And yeah, that exposed a lot for me. And then you just start going down the rabbit hole. I started talking to more people that came back from Iraq and Afghanistan. I was like, so what was going on there? Do you feel honorable about the service you did? And they were like, no, it's bullshit. Without exception, basically every person I talked to that served in Afghanistan told me the first-hand experience that, yeah, we were just basically guarding poppy fields.
Yeah. And when it comes to like info wars that are going on right now, like I feel like we're exactly what they said. Like because of the internet, we're getting exponentially, more information, and people are starting to wake up to the point that like we get to do this without feeling too intense about anything. It's like you probably already heard.
There's a really good. I mean, the misinformation and the disinformation and the sleight of hand is so upside down, and it's so clown world, and it's so backwards that I spent the last 3 years like just trying to have a straightforward discussion of like, hey, what they're telling you is a lie, and that just hasn't gone very far with the people that aren't ready to accept and to go to those places. There's a quote from a former C.I.A. director, William Casey, and it goes something like this: "We will know our job is complete when nothing the American public believes is true." From the director of the Central Intelligence Agency. You look into Operation Mockingbird and stuff like that, and you start to say, oh yeah, no, they know exactly what they're doing. The psychology of it, the Pavlovian dog thing of it, even the way they do their commercial jingles and stuff, they know they can go straight past your conscious mind and talk directly to your subconscious and implant whatever they want into there to people, so that until the point that people are completely irrational and the things that they're doing don't make any sense.
They say that that's actually one of the first examples of that is how pastors speak to their preached. Mm-hmm. They have like a fluctuation in their voices that all seem to be about the same, and doing things like that tend to like activate our deeper selves or whatever, pretty much just to like get hypnotized, right? But I do feel like, so you pretty much knew where you were going with stuff once you realized that things weren't adding up, and it seemed like it was an unfair game or something.
For sure, that was the start of it, and I went to university, and I got a degree in international relations, and I learned a lot about the UN. I learned a lot about international trade agreements and the World Trade Organization, and the IMF and the World Bank and stuff like that. And I had a lot of discussions about that, and wrote a lot of papers about it, et cetera, et cetera. You come to a point, and you're like, these people don't have the best interest of the population in it. And then later on I went down more rabbit holes of the occult and the mysticism and decoding the symbolism, and your whole life it's staring at you right on the back of the dollar bill. They got the pyramid with the eye on it, and what's that about? And people want to act like it's a coincidence because they're afraid of knowing what the truth is, and the truth is those symbols are very, very specific, and they're there for a very specific reason. And at a certain point, and what we've seen in the last couple of years is kind of a crescendo of those energies that we've seen building for these last 20 years, and in reality, Babylonian back thousands of years, is, we have to acknowledge that there's forces of evil in the world that have been creating these situations, and we have to use that as motivation to double down in our goodness. And, it's like, there's, one of the guys I take motivation from, nowadays, he shares this idea is that the world is richer and more complete for the fact that the devil exists and that evil exists in the world. We wouldn't know the good, we wouldn't have that contrast, and it wouldn't be as good without that, and without having that thing to struggle against and fight against. And it starts from within us. It's our own, malevolent urges or impulses or whatever, and it's up to us. So the world is better and richer for having the devil in it, but it is on us to keep our foot on his or its throat. And that's the thing about like conquering every day and conquering our animalistic nature and being our higher selves and being the best darn people we can be, and kind of understanding where the pitfalls are. And you get into you get into the seven sins and the corresponding virtues, and you get into the the energies on the tree of life, and then their corresponding they would call them the klipot, basically the out of alignment experience of those energies, etc., etc. Mystical things that we could talk about. Anyway, Stephanie, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I was definitely going to say about that, like remembering that everything is almost mind, body, and spirit, right? And it's our understanding between the two of what's happening, like physically and spiritually, and our understanding is our mental. So when you were talking about like 9/11 and stuff like that, keeping people at their fear mode, mm-hmm. you almost don't think logically, right? Mm-hmm. And we know this through psychology already, mm-hmm. right? So how it almost all goes around when you say like that you need that contrast, right? When we even get into science and we start talking about like our own magnetic fields, mm-hmm. right? It goes through our root chakras, our lowest chakra, all the way up to our crown chakra, right? But both of those come together for our center point, mm-hmm. as to like who we are and what we want to embody. I think those are like some of the three things: mind, body, and spirit, and stuff like that. I'm remembering that we have both of these things that we have to balance out within ourselves, mm-hmm. and through doing that, we kind of create our own reality, right? So like I think now, like when it comes to what's happening in the real world, at least within myself, the mirror that I'm seeing is that stuff no longer serves us. We're going to do something else now. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of a cool thing when it comes to bringing all those full circle. I know you go really deep onto things that I think it would be cool to like baby step in on some of these conversations that I'm like, what does that one mean?
Right. For sure.
Like some of us, I think I'm 7 years younger or something like that. And then we have like the next generation that's now on the internet that mm-hmm. it's like, they don't even remember 9/11 or anything like that.
Crazy to think about.
Right. Right? Yeah. Now they just look at our IDs and they see the
and also crazy to think that their perception of it is probably what they've heard on mainstream media, if they're mainstream right. media consumers, and how frightening that is.
Yeah, just on the basic level, like I was just talking about early today on like one of my TikToks, I was talking about, I guess online or on the news, they're saying how like people are getting brainwashed in school, and I'm like, are you talking about how you made the United States in the middle of the earth and it's not on the equator line? Are you talking about how like there was white Egyptians in our history books? What brainwash? Mm-hmm. Are you talking about the indoctrination of pledging allegiance? Like what mm-hmm. brainwashing are you talking about now? Like, so yeah, you're right. Like those are things that like. It's almost so much. It's literally the opposite side of the coin. Like to see like just how much of our lives might have been the Matrix, completely mm-hmm. coding the reality of life.
And it is the Matrix. It is all our consciousness manifesting in all directions. There's kind of the idiom like whether you believe something is possible or it's impossible, either way you're right. And I would touch on a couple of those things. So the belief is the thing. Is like if you see the world as a slave matrix, you're going to behave as a slave. If you see the world as a matrix where we are the decider and we have that divine empowerment, then you see it as a playground, a big magical playground or whatever. And it's all in your perception and where you choose to put yourself in that relationship. I want to touch on a couple things, like the misinformation, disinformation thing is like, there's really interesting. They call it the what's like the Thetan paradox or something like this. It's from Greece. I forget what the actual name of the thing is. It has like a specific term because people use it as an example for a number of things. But it's basically there's a guy who says basically all Cretans, like people from Crete, because it's a Greek thing, are liars, and the guy himself is from Crete. So the thing is like, am I lying about them all being liars? In which case I would be telling you the truth, in which case I would be telling you the truth.
They're actually telling the truth.
Right. Or am I telling you the truth about them being all liars, which would be impossible because I'm a cretin, and then that would make me a liar, sort of situation. And that's kind of where we've gotten to the point with the mainstream media and stuff like this, is that, you know, they're so committed to being liars that you can't trust anything that they say, versus like the counterculture people are so committed to telling the truth that, you know, you don't want to believe what they have to say because they're going all the way down the rabbit hole on some stuff that doesn't appear possible according to like mainstream three-dimensional physics or whatnot, which we're increasingly coming to realize is not the highest truth of how things work. And then, you know, and then the last thing I wanted to touch on was just a little bit of your, you know, talking about the fear thing, is like the fear porn is real, and it happened during 9/11 when they started talking about terrorists, and it happened during the last couple of years when they started talking about the health situation. You know,
it's gonna happen possibly when I mention all the stuff that's happening now. Like, why isn't more people like freaking out?
And
no.
And you know, and like the first time I saw that stuff on the news, you know, because I had been aware of these tactics for such a long time, and I have done my research, and I know, you know, you know, the funny thing people ask you when you start talking about conspiracies, not theories, but actual conspiracies of actual people who actually have plotted to cause harm, you know, verified and validated, and it's a long list now. Well, who are they? Who are they? You're just saying them, like they we don't know who they are, and now we've come to this point where we're like, oh yeah, it's those assholes at the IMF and the World Bank and the World Economic Forum and the United Nations, and you know, the all sorts of trafficking and abuses going on there in third world countries, and everywhere they go that they say they're helping, they're actually making things worse, and et cetera, and it's this asshole, and it's that asshole, and it's that asshole, and these ones. And now we're coming to these points, to these places where, no, these aren't just nebulous theories that someone came up with. These are like, this is the way that things have been run in these past years, and so we're getting some clarity on that, and it's helping people break through that cognitive dissonance. You know, and then just like on a spiritual level, you talk about fear. You know, we understand that, like, you know, being afraid of something, the way I think about it is that danger is real, fear is a choice. So, like, if you, let's say you're high up on a mountain and you're rock climbing or something, and you're in a dangerous position, you can't go back, and you have to go forward. Situation, you know, these happen sometimes. You know, the danger is real, but the fear will paralyze you, so you can't dwell on the fear. You have to actually have the courage to walk through it. And so on the spiritual level, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. So when, you know, we have these media campaigns to instill people into fear situations so they can be more easily controlled and manipulated into doing things that are not in their best interest, which, you know, we've seen quite a lot of in the last couple of years. The thing is to recognize that, yes, I'm feeling fear, but I'm going to choose courage, and I'm going to walk through it. And one of the most powerful spiritual lessons I've learned on the path is that the universe rewards courage. So, you know, the level up you're looking for is right on the other side of the challenging situation that you're avoiding, or the thing that you fear the most. And so just reminding yourself, just the affirmation, you know, of I am courageous, you know, I'm powerful, I'm purposeful. You know, these sort of things. You can say it to yourself, you can, in the mirror, you can whisper it to yourself, you can even think it to yourself, just starting to create that vibe. And it you know, even if you don't feel it, you can fake it till you make it. You know, even if you're not feeling the best mood, you put a smile on your face, it's going to activate the neural network that attaches to your smiley muscles, and it's going to start releasing those endorphins and whatnot, and then you start getting into the good mode. A really good book I can share is Transcending the Stairway of Consciousness, David Hawkins, Dr. David R. Hawkins. And it talks about basically, and this is also kind of in the law of polarity within the Kabbalion, within the Hermetic laws, is that, you know, in order to get from a polarized place on one part of the spectrum to the other, you have to go through those in-between steps on the way. You can't go straight from cold to hot without going through warm, and vice versa, and correspondingly for every other polarity we experience. So if you consider fear and love as the ultimate polarities of consciousness, and that we're somewhere along there, you can't go from a deeply depressed place to a blissful place all in one jump. You have to go through all of those stepping stones along the way. But from a deeply depressed place, you can smile. You can find a reason to laugh or whatever, and that will get you kickstarted and get you on the way, and then you just build momentum. And there is a whole lot of ups and downs, and the cycles of time and our biorhythms and so forth. And the ultimate thing is keep going. Giving up is not an option. Keep going. Fall 9 times, get up 10. And it's not easy. And every day our bodies get a little bit older, and it gets a little bit harder to do that thing that we could do yesterday. There's some interesting things to say about aging. I believe aging is much more biological than chronological. So we can live longer than what we've been told if we do the right things. But we're also going up against very strong obstacles. The amount of environmental toxicity that we deal with on a day-to-day basis in this society is just, it's really overwhelming and can be quite sad. But it is what it is, and we got to stick with it. And during this time, it's like, we're at a kind of like thrive or perish moment. Like, the people that I don't know. It's we really got to dig deep at this time to do what needs to be done. Anyway, long-winded. What do you think, Steph?
I think well, I really like the science part between everything. I got my master's in sustainability and stuff like that, so I really like joining the two. Like, I really do feel like what separates us from the all is only our understanding of things. Like our quantum selves already know what the heck they're doing. Like, our cells already know when we were sick before we do. You know what I mean? And it's our understanding of things that connect us.
You may remind me of a Rainbow song, every little cell in my body is happy, every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is happy and well. And we would do like when I was traveling, we would do a little vibe up meditation when I was with my friends. So anytime we'd be feeling like we were traveling, we were hitchhiking, and you spend a lot of time on the side of the road, like, well, if we don't catch a ride, I guess we're staying in this gravel pit for the night, sort of vibe. But every time we would find ourselves in that situation, we'd say, well, the first step is to raise the vibe. The first step is to get some good energy going on. So I'd look at him and he'd look at me, and we would go, and put a smile on your face and get it going. And I've carried that with me, and I carry it with me all the time. And like, it's so funny too, because it frustrates people, and some people get pissed off about it. They're like, why are you so darn gleeful? Like, what with the positivity? I'm like, yo, your
body doesn't know the difference.
Your body doesn't know the difference. It's a defense mechanism. There's nothing else to do. Like, it's all you can do.
You can choose fear. That what was it that you said for the mountain climbing?
Danger is real. Fear is a choice.
Yeah, and those things are science as well. Like how we were talking about the people that live in fear. You can't think straight sometimes. And even what you're talking about like you're activating your smile, or like even, I think the thing is to remember is that sometimes people focus on the bad more than they focus on the good, right? And the easiest example that I can give of like your mental state changing your physical state is like if you had something that happened that was really nervousome or traumatic or stressful happen the night before you go to sleep, right? And then you wake up and for a second you're perfectly fine. And then that little thought comes up, and then all of a sudden you're freaking hyperventilating. You can feel it in your body. You can feel it on your cells. Maybe your skin gets a little bit clammy, and here you are. You were perfectly fine a second ago. Your body didn't even know the difference. And then now your mind is like setting a chain reaction to your cells. So like things like that, when I like to bring up like the knowledge part. Like this is actual science, you know, people have experiments on this now, that your thoughts really do even change the way that your cells vibrate all the way down to the quantum level. I think that when it comes to everything that's happening in the world, when it comes to our physical state at the moment, knowledge is really what's going to get us the furthest. When it comes to now we realize abusive tactics, right? Like one of the abusive tactics being, oh, well, this country is the greatest and everyone else is the worst. And then, you know, we find out that we're the only ones that speak one language and everyone else thinks that we're like the, maybe sometimes the hillbilly of the world, you know what I mean? And these are like little things that we're learning through the internet too, of like fear-mongering, or like, am I saying it right? Fear-mongering, blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, the fact that some information is gatekeeped. And now we're getting individuals like yourself that are sharing as much as you know, that, you know, doesn't keep it as a gatekeeping point and allows knowledge to be at that point that intercedes and overturns our fear of what's happening.
Yeah, definitely. I've like have those fears about like speaking perfectly openly and frankly, like on the internet and whatnot. And like I'm not doing it right now. In all honesty, like if you want the real, like YouTube's not the venue for that. Like so somewhere else, like because I got things to say about all the things, and trust me, like I'm not pleased.
I usually say everything, and I say, if I die, y'all know why.
Yeah.
And I just leave it at that.
For sure. No, I mean, I let those things be known in other ways. It's just like certain particular topics, like, yeah, So, you know, but I will say, just like, I will say that stopping human trafficking and protecting the children is the #1 priority.
Yeah, we should not have.
Any other political discourse, any other like, you know, climate change or the war in Eastern Europe over there and it's all a smokescreen.
What do you think about the people that say that stuff is fake? That there's not so many kids going missing, that they're not trying to take all the indigenous children again, that they're not.
I would say you ought to put your knees to the ground and find it and ask in your heart what the truth of that situation is. You know, there's
too many videos. There's too many evidence. There's too much, you know, people knowing someone. You know, the other day I was hearing something. You know, this one's just a herd. I'm not gonna say it's fact or whatever, but they were saying that this girl got found. That was saying that it was at a Walmart that she got snatched, and that supposedly the list of those kids that are on the missing board is actually like their auction. That's how they let people know that they have this little auction going, and these are the kids that they have. I mean, that one.
Well, there was this evidence came out about like the Wayfair website.
Oh yeah,
where they were listing a cabinet for $17,000, and the people that knew that if they ordered that cabinet and they put in the secret code or whatever, that they would get a not cabinet.
I think
in exchange.
The biggest example that we have right now that I just cannot brush under the rug is the whole like list of the Epstein case and all these names that should have been there, and there's only one woman in jail. There's only one female person in jail for all this, and it's just, we restarted the planet with whatever this stuff was, and no one's even taking accountability for any of that right now. And that one's probably the biggest.
That's really important, and there's just way too much evidence, headed in that direction, and too many people involved, and too much stuff going on for it to be not getting more attention. Definitely, that is being suppressed and so forth. Interestingly, there's some wrinkles in this story happening right now. There's this crypto founder just last week that was found dead in Caribbean somewhere, and he had his most recent Twitter post was basically like, "Hey, they're coming for me. Like, I've discovered this stuff going on, within the crypto sphere and within the Caribbean, which is where that where the island was, etc." And then now this week we have the whole FTX thing, and the founder Sam Bankman-Fried He's been funneling all of these. I got a meme about it. I'll get to it at the end. But basically, there was a whole lot of dirty dealings between, the funding going to that Eastern European country where they say that there's a war, but of course Congress never voted for a war. There is no war as far as concerned, which for the record is also the case with the American Civil War and every war since. These were not declared by the Congress of the United States of America, and as we restore the constitutional republic, these things will become better known. Less known fact is that the American States Assembly voted to end the American Civil War in 2019. You're very welcome. So these sort of things. In any case, the money that was being sent over there was actually being funneled through this crypto exchange, and then being they were taking out loans against the users' money, and it all went up in a big puff of smoke, and it was all being used for contributions towards their political party of choice. I don't politically party, so. And in the meantime, they're all in the Caribbean doing various types of sexual rituals and so forth.
Yeah, and I don't know, just to remind people, I think it's important to remember the psychology behind some things, like the fact that it's just one thing after another. You eventually get compliant with the horrible things that are happening. That you kind of, it's like the dog getting shocked by the collar every time.
Learned helplessness.
Yeah, learned helplessness, and this is something that, I just want to remind y'all to not fall into. It's almost like, taking in the fluoride too much, and we eventually get super compliant, and no one wants to, think that it could be better. And some people say, oh, well, this is like the most safest times in humanity and all that stuff, compared to our history and whatnot. And I can understand that, but in my future, we don't have any of this. We don't say, oh, well, it could have been so much worse. I could have beat you a whole bunch harder, know? And these are tactics that, in my reality, no longer serve us. So I just want to, because we can get overwhelmed with so many things that are happening. And I just think that it's important to, see, our goal is a brighter future. Our goal is something where this is not even a part of our reality. It can, in reality, it almost seems like, the fear of losing the life that we can have has to be outweighed by the fear of the life that we can have.
The life you want will cost you the life you have.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, and, the thing for me that really made a big difference was understanding the sovereignty component. A lot of people want to have this idea of oh, well, you want to solve these problems, you got to get up in there and vote, and you got to lobby, and you ought to be a politician and all this stuff. And I'm like, yo, that's the exact opposite. That is the exact wrong way to do it.
Because you're putting attention. You're putting attention to the system that you don't want.
You're putting energy into a system that is harmful, sort of thing. But for me, it made a big difference. Is connecting with the States Assembly and reading the material on the American States Assembly.net and the Anna von Reitz material, etc. I'll be happy to go over and share at some point. And you start to realize that there are passionate Americans who have been doing this research for a long time. You've heard people speculating about there is no law requiring federal income tax. Well, that's true. But what do we do with that information? Well,
they always say you got to jump through hoops, or you got to hire some crazy lawyer that's going to get you through this or that. You have to be rich to not be able to do it. And I've heard that same saying until this guy showed up, and it was like, no, he's done it. Mm-hmm. It's possible. You can still live a beautiful life with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it wasn't until I started really integrating that information that you start to understand that there is a narrative and there is a thread to where we overcome these things in the righteous way, and through the grace of Great Spirit, the Most High, whatever you want to call it. It's unnameable, of course. It's just so but goodness. I don't prefer the term God, but God is good. So goodness is the rule of the universe, life affirming and supporting and so forth. And yes, Stephanie.
Okay, so like the science way for that in my head, right, is the fact that energy is fluid, almost like water, right? And it tends to go in the easiest flowing direction. And as we grow, the easiest flowing direction is to fulfill our desires, right?
Follow your bliss.
Right, follow your bliss, you know, follow your heart, or all those things. And energy is flowing that way. And for the most part, you know, I honestly feel that a lot of evil people are just ignorant. If they had more knowledge to them, they would realize how nicer it is to work with others. They would realize how much they hurt someone, or, you know, they would see these things. And as we grow our consciousness and our awareness, no matter what, the universe is following these laws of science almost, you know, that it flows in the easiest direction, and it does want to fulfill our desires. And right now, hopefully those desires are outweighing what no longer serves us. Like, that's the easiest way that I can see that.
The compact way to say that is energy flows where intention goes.
The least amount of resistance.
Right. Or rather, it knows where it wants to get to, and we're just kind of vessels for it. And when we align with it, things go smoothly. And when we try to fight against it and try to swim upriver, it's never going to happen anyway. Like, you know, right. So at a certain point, like, you come to the realization that, like, you know, the energy force, it doesn't have to be an anthropomorphized God figure, but the energy force of creation, you know, is moving in a certain way, in a certain direction, and that it's our best course of action to align with it. And then you come to this place where full power surrender is the only option. And you say, my personal desires for my personal human ego, you know, flesh sack, meat bag position really doesn't mean anything in the higher course of things. And so I'm going to do what I'm called to do, and I'm going to listen to my heart, and I'm going to go with the flow. And again, full power surrender is the only option. And then, you know, I'm just here as, like, living proof of, like, the more that I've aligned with that, the better my life has gotten. And that's cool. And, you know, we're doing it together, and it only gets better. So dream big, my friends. Yay. So I can touch on a couple things. I have set up a couple things, and I'll touch on them briefly. Here we're coming up on an hour already. And that's just fine. You know,
you mentioned how people can get in contact with you, or like.
Yeah, I plugged in my links on the description for this video. So I have a Twitter where I talk about crypto stuff largely, and Twitter's a shit show. I have my Instagram, which I don't use that much, but I do post memes and stuff on there from time to time. And I have my Telegram, which is
he's always on.
Which I'm kind of always on, and I'm sharing lots of memes. I got some memes of the week to share at the end of the stream, so, like, stick around for that. But yeah, the Telegram is where I really want to cultivate a little bit more discussion, because I feel like I'm free to kind of share whatever I like on there. Like, I see a lot of, like, uncensored memes that are, like, hitting right on the topics that I want to discuss and so forth. So, like, I go all the way in there, and it's funny. I, like, invited a bunch of, like, people into my Telegram, and as I post more and more inflammatory memes, I see my subscriber count is going down, and I'm like, cool, like, blast out all the normies, filter out all the normies, and just get totally ratchet with it.
You know, something that I am working on myself too is, like, keeping this pattern so that, like, there's someone that I know that goes to the same cafe every day at a certain time, and you just know where to find that person. So you're going to be doing this every Sunday at this time, and people know where to find you. If they have any questions, this is about that time. Yep,
that's the idea, and I am committed to having that consistency to where, like, last week I was just, like, learning the software and dicking around, and I was feeling like I was having a lot of buffering and latency issues, so I just, like, shut it down. But this week, like, regardless of whether I have something really pressing to say or not, I want to create this space to where I can be available if people want to ask questions or connect or share stories. I'm happy to make it a creative space as well. Like, if someone's got a cool chord progression and they want me to make it into a track, awesome. If someone's got you know, a cool Photoshop project they've been working on, and they you know,
pointers
whatever, or at some point I'm gonna start. I'm gonna have some more music to release, and like I'd like to have some cool art for it, stuff like that. I did the photo that you're seeing here for this scene this week. It was kind of cool. I got like a cool app on my phone that I've just, and I'm learning this streaming software as well, so that's also cool. And you know, just kind of dedicating to being creative and productive, and especially going into the wintertime, it's a good time for that. So
keep your mind busy, and it's like family a little bit. You're pretty much just saying like, come on over and let's talk.
Yeah, in a place where it doesn't have to be perfect or cultivated all the way, but it's just, you know, a good effort each week of bringing something new to the table, and you know, having something to share. And you know, for my friends that really want to jump in and participate, I haven't really figured out just yet how to get another video screen on here and like host someone else for like an interview or whatnot. But we'll get there, and that'll be cool. And then we can all hang out remotely. I don't know if we could even do like a Zoom thing and have like 20 people in here, or we could hang out in a Twitter space and like have you know, have 20 people in there and have like a real conversation or whatever. These sort of things. Okay, so real briefly, you know, I'm not going to run too long. I don't want to get into like long format where I'm just like going on and on. Sort of thing. Say what?
I'm gonna dip.
All right, cool. Say goodbye to Stephanie. Thank you for sharing time with us.
Yeah.
Steph.
And I'm sure once you watch it on like normal stream, once you upload this for people, it's gonna look really good. So that'd be what happens. Bye.
Of course. Okay. Cool. So yeah, Steph is super cool. She's been super kind since I moved in here. We got a good vibe. I really like haven't lived with like a roof over my head and like hot water and climate control in a number of years. And fuck it, I've been traveling and you know, living off the grid and having wonderful adventures. So that's all good. But it's been really, really nice to have my own space here. And you see, I got my guitars hanging on the wall. I got my decorations all the way I like them. I got my other co-host here. I picked this up at the thrift shop. He's a sparkly little rainbow narwhal, sky whale sort of vibe. I haven't come up with a name for him yet, but we can come up with a name. If any of you guys watched my like old ass streams when I was in Denmark with the brother Bastian, and we had Thunderpig the Wonder Pig. A lot of fun. So I'd like to tap into that vibe again and cultivate some of that again. So in any case, I've really enjoyed spending this time, and you know, I'm happy to spend this time all the time. I think this is going to be mostly like, you know, maybe someone will come check it out later on the replay or whatnot. I'm not seeing any activity in the chat, which is fine. I would like to get some more subscribers on my channel, so if you want to like, share, subscribe, that would be great. The main reason is I would like to get to 50, because then I can do live streams directly from my phone, and I can do like short updates or like quick check-ins and stuff like that, and that's where I'd like to be. So in any case, I'm going to real quickly go through I have my little sovereignty scene here. If you don't recognize this flag, this is the American civil flag playing all this time. Whenever you see the standard stars and stripes that we're used to, that's a wartime flag. So when they have it in the courtroom with the gold tassel on it, the whole thing, that's indicating an admiralty court. You're basically being treated as a enemy combatant sort of situation. You'll see the website there, theamericanstatesassembly.net. This is the website to go to learn all about correcting your status, etc. And very briefly, I will pull it up so that we can see. And this is great. I mean, I've been studying this information for 5, 6, 7 years. The woman who really broke it open is this woman, Anna von Reitz. She got into it with the IRS back in the 90s or whatever, and she started looking up the law, and she said, wait a minute, these people have no authority to do what they're trying to do, etc., etc. International Peace Proclamation. American Civil War conducted as a mercenary conflict, maintained for 156 years, etc., etc. All very interesting. You see up at the top, there's a Webinars tab. The Webinars tab is, I'll go ahead and click that, let that load. And then there's a Chart Your Course and Correct Your Status tab as well, which is kind of thing. Correct your status, protect your assets, reclaim your inheritance, gain access to the credit, the purloined credit of our de jure, not de jour, not like soup du jour, but de jure, as in authentic country, you know, our authentic government. The one-page declaration, you can correct your status in one page. You need witnesses that can testify that they've known you for some time, but that's basically it. The long-awaited one-page documentation, how to notarize, how to autograph, talking about the inks and the copyright symbol. And when I autograph all rights reserved, comma, without prejudice, by, colon, my full name, copyright sign. And that's the way to protect yourself from the presumption that you're acting in a territorial or municipal corporate capacity. In any case, there you go. The Chart Your Course tab. So there is the one-page declaration just for correcting your status, but if you really want to bulletproof your claim to all of your assets and your inheritance, etc., there's some other documents you can do. The Declaration of Political Status. This one I got notarized and sent out to the Secretary of State here in Colorado and also in Washington. Passport information. I actually did receive a passport as an American national last year. It looks the same as everyone else's passport. The only differences are there's like this discussion about the number of stars on it and what that means, and also just the way you fill it out and signing it, all rights reserved without prejudice, etc., etc. Fee schedule. If any corporate officers, police officers, or whatever require to detain you or to use your service without your permission, you can actually charge them for your time, and you charge what your time is worth. So if your time is worth $100 million per micro moment, you can put that on your fee schedule. Whatever. If you actually want to see that money, you can put a more reasonable amount, $10,000 per hour, something like that. And we actually have examples of people who have gotten this money, etc., etc. As Americans, you know, unless there is an injured party, a living flesh and blood man or woman who has been harmed or had their property damaged, you know, these corporate officers don't have any reason to interact with us, and we have the right for compensation if they interact with us without our consent. Revocation of election to pay taxes. This one goes to the IRS offices. Truth about the IRS. Next step after sending your revocation letters, etc. This stuff is all awesome and amazing. I recommend everybody to take a look at it and read it and understand it. This is how we bring back our actual constitutional republic. You know, we just had a midterm election for their corporate government, which I'm not a part of, so I didn't vote. I'm not allowed to vote. In fact, you know, it's part of the correcting your status process is revoking your to withdraw from a voter registration. Registration comes from the root word regis or regent, which is national sovereigns do not register; they record. Just so you know. Here's the webinar page. Join the weekly webinar every Monday. Here we are, Mountain Time, 7 o'clock. Every week on Monday, and here in the little drop-down box, you can listen to all of them going back to 2019. This is fantastic. I make sure to listen to this every darn single week, and it's just great. And what's going on in the background right now is we are restoring to lawful money back to constitutional money backed by actual assets, and it's happening. There's a blue dot banking system in play, and we're going to have access to abundance like we've never seen before for those of us who correct our status. For those who remain U.S. corporate, you know, entities, they're going to remain in the debtor position and will not have that access. Anyway, this is the website I go to, paulstramer.net, just for daily articles. And here we have the Anavon Rights articles, which are the best. the highest quality information, the most complete. Like I said, I've been studying her information for 5, 6, 7 years, and it's the most complete approach to sovereignty, restoring the republic, etc., of any that I've found. There's a number of people, for instance, David Stray, people have a lot of nice things to say about, but he doesn't he doesn't go all the way. He says, is all about doing kind of like the UCC filings and gaining control of the straw man, etc., but still acting as a U.S. corporate citizen. You can have both statuses. You can be an American national during your free time, and then while you're working and paying federal taxes, and especially if you are federally employed, you're a U.S. citizen while you're on the clock, and you're an American national when you're not. For me, I've chosen to act as an American state citizen, so I've actually taken an obligation to serve the constitutional republic, and you can't be a dual citizen in that regard. So I, as an American state citizen, cannot be a U.S. corporate citizen also. You have to kind of choose one or another. But as an American national, you can also maintain the status of U.S. citizen while you're learning, and if it makes you uncomfortable to consider the idea of not being a corporate U.S. citizen, even though that is where you want to be. That's where you enjoy the protections of the Constitution and our God-given rights rather than privileges, etc., which is exactly what this article is talking about, a right versus a privilege, the trap of incorporation. Anyway, I encourage you to check out this website, this paulstramer.net, and you can learn those things for yourself. So that is the little sovereignty wrap-up. Just wanted to go over that real quickly. Let's see. Let's go back here. I had a thing or two I wanted to share. Do I have this up? Pull it up. Hey, there we are. This one, I'm not going to go over this completely today. Learning segment. Maybe I'll make a section for it next week. Put that on top. Slide it on over here. Anyway, I made this reading list like back in 2015 or something like that. And it's all the books that really helped me on my path and helped me with learning a lot of spiritual stuff. And I can add some of the more recent stuff that I've come across. But Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Volume 1 and 2, fantastic. Living in the Heart, Melchizedek, fantastic. Emerald Tablets, Kabbalion. Kabbalion is perhaps the best document that you can read for understanding natural law. It's the 7 Hermetic Principles. If you're one of my hippie friends, you already know that stuff. If you're if it's new to you, then I highly, highly, highly suggest it. The manifestation stuff, we have Ask and It Is Stuff, we have Ask and It Is Given, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, Your Wish Is Your Command, all very good. These things changed my life when I was doing sales and when I was going through my dark night of the soul, etc. There's also Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, etc., etc. In that manifestation vein, self-improvement, these sort of things. There's a lot of really good stuff. Nutrition and Wellness, Andrew Weil, David Wolf. Some of these haven't been updated in a while. The Kabbalah Magic Astrology, the Illuminatus Trilogy, perhaps my favorite book of all time. So good. Bunch of hippies going on a magic adventure in a golden submarine to save the world from an Illuminati conspiracy dating back to ancient Atlantis. Let's go! Secret Teachings of All Ages, very good. If you want to understand symbolism and understand how we've come to this place in our society that we have, Secret Teachings of All Ages, one of the best books basically ever. As far as just one of the best books ever. Yep. And anybody that's really interested in like occult mysticism learning and for me, like, understand when I say these things, I mean for the greatest good, like learning the laws of spirituality so that we can do the greatest good for most people. Technology ultimately is inherently neutral. It can be used for good or for bad. So it's not the knowledge, it's we use it and bring a strong intention to use this information only for the greatest good. Native American, The Four Agreements, fantastic. Mastery of Love, Don Miguel Ruiz. Anything from Carlos Castaneda, amazing. Sacred Sexuality, this stuff, Mantak Chia, fantastic. I've just for the men I've met on the travel trail, understanding, retention and recycling sexual energy and how to be vibrant, full power, alpha, awesome, let's go, sort of vibe. Saved my life. Yep, saved my life. I would not be here right now if it was not for that information. Sexual Secrets, Alchemy of Ecstasy, very good, very good. Lots of illustrations, lots of diagrams, and kind of hitting it from every angle. This book is great. Sovereignty, off-grid stuff, Be Here Now, Ram Dass. Couple really good YouTube channels. The Understanding channel with Seven Bomar, the Mr. Astrotheology with Santos Bonacci, the Great Work channel with Mark Passio. Mark Passio, former participant in the Church of the Satanic Church in Philadelphia. Then he realized that they weren't fucking around and that they were actually doing evil stuff. And so he left the church somehow and wasn't killed. And now he teaches about universal law, natural law, these sort of things. He's rough around the edges. He's rightfully pissed off about the state of the world in this situation. But as far as understanding the symbolism and the ceremony and the things that mainstream media and mainstream sources have done to our consciousness and have intended to do to our consciousness, one of the best teachers in that realm, etc. I would also add in here one that I've been spending more time with recently, which is just fantastic. This guy just had Seven Bomar on a week ago, and it was just a fantastic download. Bro Sanchez. And I like him because he's got this, very southern, strong accent, vibe about him, but just dead on with the decoding and the deconstruction, etc. So that's a really good channel as well. So that's some mystical stuff. I'll have more stuff on that for next week or whatever. I just wanted to touch on that stuff briefly. And come back to this. Okay, now we get to the fun part. I have prepared for you, and I'm gonna try to do this tactfully. If you want the full on, come check out my Telegram, t.me/Nico the Dreamer. There's a chat in there. We can chat about whatever. I'm happy to connect with people, etc. And I do all my full on, no holds barred meme warfare, consciousness expansion, connection stuff over there. So go there for the real deal. But here we have my memes of the week. And I have memes of the week, and it's spelled WEAK for the weak-hearted and weak-minded people who are offended by memes and so forth. They can't handle it when and it's so funny, the left can't meme, the meme about the left can't meme sort of vibe. It's you got to have a certain sense of humor, and you got to have an ability to decode what you're seeing when it comes to meme battle. Otherwise you're just going to get pissed off and you're going to look like a fool. Anyway, here's what I have for you. Better to be slapped with the truth than kissed with a lie, and that's how I live my life. I say what I feel, I speak my truth, I wish for the greatest good, but if you think I'm going to bite my tongue or hold my lips for any darn buddy, nope, I'm going to say what I feel, etc. Many people, especially ignorant people, want to punish you for speaking the truth, for being correct, for being you. Never apologize for being correct or for being years ahead of your time. If you're right and you know it, speak your mind. Speak your mind. Even if you are a minority of one, the truth is still the truth. We hitting them with a Mahatma Gandhi quote today. Let's go. The perfect dictatorship would have the appearance of a democracy, but would basically be a prison without walls in which the prisoners would not even dream of escaping. It would essentially be a system of slavery where, through consumption and entertainment, the slaves would love their servitude. 2 + 2 = 5. Quote is from Aldous Huxley. The 2 + 2 = 5 is, of course, George Orwell, 1984, etc. This is the whole idea. The whole idea is to get people to consent to having their freedoms removed. and to not have to do it through overt violence, although that it's, there's implicit violence behind state actions, etc. Freedom is your birthright. Stop asking for permission for it. No, yeah, it speaks for itself. There you go. Maybe the last generation which has the possibility to rebel, and if you don't rebel, there may be no more chances. Humanity can be reduced to a robot-like resistance, so rebel while there is time. Yeah, for sure. The importance of the now. Right now is the time to affirm to ourselves, you know what, regardless of the odds or how, against all odds situation or whatever, give it your best shot. And we'll see how far we can get when we're doing it together. You got one person right here that wants for you to be free and happy. And so follow your bliss. I got you. I got you back. We all in this together. Let's go. Count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies, for the hardest victory is over self. Stern with self, kind with others. Hold ourselves to the highest level that we can be accountable, the highest level that we're capable of, and exercise compassion and forgiveness liberally with others. And for those people, if you ever see this, people that I'm having some sort of conflict with at the moment, or people I'm not really talking to, there's a handful of people in my life that over the last couple of years, like, we've come to a place where our relationship doesn't really have a direction forward at the moment, and needs reconciliation. And just to know that there's only love on this side of the table. So I don't know what's going on with y'all. Y'all figure your thing out. I love you. I forgive you. But there's boundaries, and certain shit don't play. So that's what it is. And for those people that just let's communicate and respect. I don't know. It's been hard losing friends. I don't like losing friends, and all my friends are welcome to come back into my life, and we can resume our friendship. But certain parameters need to be met. Yeah, and I'll leave it there. Love y'all. Doing my best. I'm living my best life, and I'm fucking kicking super butt. Awesome. Love in every moment. I've never done better in my whole darn adult life, and if people want to judge on that, or you want to, because I don't participate in certain mainstream things that everyone thinks that you should participate in. Yup. Well, yep. That's that. Yeah, this is a little play on the in our household we believe. In our America, we claim our sovereignty. Life wins. Health freedom matters. Diversity of opinion is welcome. Healing modality responsible for our own health. Families and local communities valued over profit. Natural immunity is celebrated. Connect, integrate, and breathe freely. Yay. The world's elite have just arrived at COP27, some climate conference, on hundreds of private jets to lecture you about climate change, sponsored by Coca-Cola. Yep, that lets you know what I think about this whole sustainability thing. Here's the deal when it comes to pollution and the notion of climate change. The notion of it, because really what we're talking about is pollution and wastefulness is the real thing. And also, it's the solution should be proportional to the problem. Who are the people that are causing the problem to the greatest degree? Well, multinational corporations and international governments and military organizations. So y'all solve it. Y'all made the problem, y'all solve it. Like, consumer automobiles going to work every day is not the reason for the problem. And also, the solution is it's not carbon offset credits. It's not a tax and bait and switch scheme. Here's the solution. Are you ready? Plant more trees. There we go. Climate change solved. Let's go back to full power, abundance, joyfulness. Plant more trees. Until I hear those words come out of the lips of any fucking asshole talking about climate change, until I hear them say plant more trees, no, you don't have my respect on that issue, and we're not really moving anywhere productive until those words come out. 400 private jets arriving in Egypt as climate delegates are accused of hypocrisy. Yep. Don't respect it, won't support it. And here's the meme I was talking about the money laundering connection, alleged, between the Department of State and tax revenue and foreign aid. I think we know which country we're talking about there. and this FTX exchange, and then the Democratic Party, and then vote blue in 2022. You know, and you can pull on that thread and see how deep it goes. As I mentioned, it already goes like in the Bahamas. They had a $1 million bungalow where they were doing sexual depravity of various sorts, allegedly. We don't know, but and whatever. Get your freak on sexuality is great, but the type of stuff that they're involved in places like that, I can only imagine. Anyway, do your best, do no harm, respect the free will of others. That's where I'll leave that. Most underused medical tools: fasting, sunlight, sleep, nature, real food, exercise, heat, cold, salt, magnesium, earthing, meditation, laughter. And I would just put that last one right up on top. They say laughter is the best medicine, and it's so funny that people don't believe them, because that's the darn truth. I sincerely believe that laughter is the best medicine. You cannot be healthy without joy. Can't happen. And without joy, your health will deteriorate. You might have health now, but if you lose your joy, you will lose your health also. That's just how that goes. All doors are open to the believer. Dream big, my friends. Abundancia. Abundance is for us all. Real secret to a fabulous life is to live imperfectly with great delight. Hooray. And then the last one: why do you keep posting things that you know will trigger people? Because fuck them, that's why. No one in particular, and just joking most. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about my meme posting. And here we are, about an hour and a half. I'm going to leave it there for this week. I'm dedicating an hour each week. If I run long, that's fine. There's more I can cover. And we'll just leave this as a starting point. And we can cover more next time. I didn't get to like any of the crypto stuff I really want to. I don't care, but like, I'm working really hard personally to get my finances in a situation to where I can enjoy abundance, and I have learned a lot, and my thesis about the Federal Reserve note in going to zero, I think is sound. Easy mode is pick up some silver. The more fun and interesting mode is get involved in crypto. Which has already proven itself to be the best performing asset in human history. Like, if you're not in crypto, you're missing out on the best performing asset in human history. We're in a bear market, and we're like, some of the best assets are on a 90% discount right now. So, it's likely to go down a bit more. We're looking at a bottom at Bitcoin somewhere 10, 11,000, 11K in prey, lower, buying opportunity. Blockchain is interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on. Primarily, my philosophy towards that is first principles, immutable code, no admin keys, not your coins, self-custody, trustless yield, etc. And I have a lot of things to say about that. Easy mode. All right, fine. I wasn't gonna, but now I'm gonna. Where are ya? Where are ya? One moment. Let me see if I can figure these out. That's not how I want to do that. Let's do it this way. Let's do. There we have it. Lump. There's me. So this is where like I want to start off with, for just sharing with my friends. You see up here by the URL bar, I have this little fox here. This is MetaMask. And this is the in-browser wallet for getting started with crypto. It's the most commonly used one for people that use etc. Come on, open up. You're giving me a hard time. Come now. Well, in any case, here we have pulsechain.com. Pulsechain is a new chain coming along. It's going to be an Ethereum fork, so it's going to have all the basic functionality of Ethereum. Many of the blockchains. So you have Bitcoin, which is like old and clunky and slow and doesn't work and is not a long-term solution for the things people want it for. And then most of these other chains that we're seeing are going to be Ethereum chains. There's Ethereum, and then these other chains are known as EVM compatible, which is the Ethereum virtual machine. So chains like, and then there's layer 2 chains that are supporting Ethereum because Ethereum struggles with scalability. So I'm going to do like a whole crypto breakdown, and I can go over them one at a time, but I just want to get people started. Here's my streaming and teaching wallet. So I've created an account here that I can share. And we can kind of walk this stuff together, and I'll open that up there. Go back to Pulsechain. So basically the way this works is I have my MetaMask open. I download it into my browser. I create a new wallet. I write down my seed phrase. I put it somewhere very careful and very safe, because if you lose your seed phrase, you lose any money that you have, and that's it, and it's over. So keep your seed phrase carefully protected. This is you know, what self-custody is all about. You have to take that responsibility, and this is what, you know, taking care of your own assets is about. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to go into the MetaMask, and we're going to add the Pulse chain testnet so that we can mess around with some test coins just for darn free, just so we can learn a little bit about DeFi, because you know, self-custody and having our own keys and learning how to use some of these apps and stuff is going to put us light years. And honestly, you know, in crypto, and holding, just get into a good asset and hold it. Not financial advice, but like, the strategy is, the best strategy in investing is to get into the best asset you can and never ever move it. Like, you don't have to trade, you don't have to think too hard or do too much. It's just finding the best asset and holding it. So anyway, within my MetaMask, I have a bunch of networks up here at the top in this drop-down bar, and then there's a button here to click Add Network. And within the Add a Network, I can add a network manually, and it's got all these empty spaces. And coincidentally, it looks very similar to here. Here's the network name, the RPC URL, the chain ID, etc. And I can plug all those in here. I'm not plugging them in right now because I already have added the Pulse Chain testnet to my MetaMask. And I find it here, Pulse Chain testnet v2. It'll switch. I have 0 TPLS, so I need some right now. Go back to the Pulse Chain website and click on the faucet. It's going to open up. And so for my friends that may be watching this and like are curious about just getting involved, like I just hope that you can learn something real quick and make it easy so that you can get started and we can kind of walk this path together. So I'm going to put in my address for my oh, it didn't do it. I already. Okay, we'll do this next week. In any case, I can put some test pulse into my wallet, and then I can go over to the trading app, and I can make some trades, etc., etc. And I can stake, I can provide liquidity, I can earn trustless yield in various ways. And this is maybe where we'll pick it up next week. I'll spend a little bit more time. This week I had Stephanie, and we kind of had more of a conversation and less of like a teaching example. So here I just connect my wallet, and I don't prefer to connect that wallet. In any case, it shows me that I have some test things in here, some test coins in here, and so hey, I'll make a test. Yeah, that's I prefer to connect to this one. And I can make a swap, I can do limit orders, I can provide liquidity, these sort of things, and these are things that we can talk about perhaps next week. And we can open up TradingView, and we can open up CoinGecko, and these are things I'll go into more next week, and I'm happy to take requests if someone wants me to look at a specific coin or look at a specific chart or whatnot. That's kind of fun. That's one of the fun things that I want to do during this time in this stream is talk about crypto and learn about crypto because it's fun and it's cool. Very quickly, as it's loading, here's Hedron is a coin I'm looking at. This is within the Hex ecosystem. Trustless yield, immutable code, no admin keys, checks a lot of boxes, and also pretty viral. Very good opportunity. It's something that I am excited about. Let's go. I'll pull up 3 charts real quick. Struggling to load as we're streaming and doing a bunch of stuff all at the same time. I'll go over a bunch of these charts, and I'm happy to kind of share my thoughts on different coins and stuff as we go. Should be fun. First chart I look at when I'm when you're talking about crypto is the Bitcoin chart. We look over on CoinGecko. Hey, look, Bitcoin, #1 coin, $314 billion market cap. Well, that's a good place to start if you want to understand the space. Is what is the biggest coin. I'm going to click up here and go to the monthly time frame so we see the long-term view. What is the history of Bitcoin? What does it look like? You'll notice here that I have log activated here on the bottom. So we're looking at this on a logarithmic scale. So this is basically every move up is like a 10x rather than like a linear scale. And the difference is that, watch this, I'll show you in a moment. The difference, as we're loading, and you can see I've plotted some trend lines on here so we can kind of have some ideas about where Bitcoin might go, these sort of things. But the difference is here, we see kind of like it's snaking up into the right. We take off the log, and all this stuff over here to the left is just like reduced to minutia, despite the fact that those are significant moves. At the time. In fact, these are some of the biggest moves. This, I think, is the biggest month in Bitcoin history. It went from $200 up to $1,100, did almost 1 month sort of thing. And we see, at the lows down here, and this chart only goes back to 2011. I think Bitcoin started in 2009. It goes from $2 at the low in 2011 to $69,000 in 2021. So in 10 years, it went from $2 to $69,000. So that's a 35,000x. So think about that. You know, I think we all know if you would have put $100 into Bitcoin at the low here, it would have turned into 3.5 million in a matter of 10 years. Now, considering the fact that you know, all of cryptocurrency is, you know, the entire market cap is 859 billion, and you know the money supply in the world compared to traditional markets, the stock market. I think the gold market alone is like $8 or $10 trillion, something like that. But anyway, like the entire pie, as far as all the money, quintillions, sextillions of dollars, and we're talking about less than $1 trillion in the entirety of crypto. Bitcoin making up 314 billion of it. Here we see, so this is CoinGecko. This is a coin ranking site, and you can go through the top 100 coins. Now, these ranking sites, there's political intrigue. They have their interests. They take money from certain people, so like there is gatekeeping here. So you know you want to do your research and make your own choices. Ethereum is the #2 coin, as I mentioned. Many chains are running off the Ethereum. They're either forks of Ethereum or they're running off the Ethereum virtual machine, the EVM. Sitting here at about 150 billion market cap. So coins that are related to, we can go here in Ethereum ecosystem, since it's the second biggest coin. The thing about Bitcoin is it doesn't really have an ecosystem underneath it because it's not that good. It's old technology. It doesn't have the ability to do smart contracts. It's slow. It's clunky. It's had 2 inflation bugs in its time. You can think of Bitcoin as the Betamax of crypto at this point. It's an 8-track. It does security okay. It's all based on proof of work, so basically they need to use a shit freaking ton of electricity to make increasingly less amounts of Bitcoin, so it's somewhat wasteful. You want to talk about climate change or sustainability, that's, you know, it's a discussion within crypto. Anyway, here's Ethereum. Polygon is the biggest layer 2, so it's helping take some of the load off of Ethereum for scaling, for more transactions, more throughput, lower fees, these sort of things. Uniswap is the #1 DEX, the decentralized exchange on Ethereum that you can do directly from your wallet, as opposed to a centralized exchange like FTX, which just lost $9 billion in users' money. Not your keys, not your coins. If you keep your coins on a centralized exchange, you have a high probability of losing them in time. Kronos is the Crypto.com coin. Crypto.com is looking like it might be the next one to go. If you have any money on Crypto.com, might be a good time to reevaluate whether you want to let it sit there. Here we have Phantom. Phantom is one of my favorite EVM altcoins. It's cheap. It's affordable. Transaction fees are relatively low, and there's yield farming opportunities. They've got an interesting ecosystem going. So that's one I have my eye on. And then you have like another one that's built, that's EVM compatible, that is kind of interesting and is you know, pretty well known. At least it's not my favorite. I'm willing to pick up a little bit just to play around on their platform, but I don't think it's like the long-term thing. Is where's Avalanche? Avalanche here at 21. Kind of fun. We can mess around with some of these. Cosmos Hub, they're trying to do some like layer 0 interoperability between blockchains. Kind of cool. They've got this Kepler wallet where you can put all the Atom sort of stuff in there. I haven't mentioned like my favorite coins yet, and I'll do that next week. We'll get into it a little bit more specifically. In any case, going back to the Bitcoin chart here, you can see that it's way down. Look at this. Here. Come now. So here we are. We're still looking at the monthly chart. And from the top to where we are now, it's down 77%. In its past, Bitcoin has generally done 85% dips before it moves back up. So we're coming to that place where it might be a good buy. Not that I would buy Bitcoin. Like I said, I think it's Betamax. I think there's better choices in the market. And here I've drawn, this is the, what do they call it? Fixed range volume profile, which is kind of cool. And you can see the larger amount of volumes, and this red line, which is kind of like a point of control, is right down here at about 10 10,000, 9,900. We can talk a little bit more about like the formal markets and why it's possible that there will be more downside. It's a bit weird, you know, people are like, why is crypto down? It's supposed to be a hedge against inflation, et cetera, et cetera. It's an indication of how much institutional money got into Bitcoin, and they've